Roots was thinking to stop the world and to get chosen, to get the Emmy, because of roots was so significant that that's the plateau.
My guest today is multi-award-winning actor Louis Gossett Jr. Looking at your illustrious career, Oscar, Tony, no, is it a Tony?
Yeah, Tony from Roots.
Yes, Tony from Roots, that's right. The Globe Image Award. All these awards, which one is the most meaningful for you?
The most meaningful, the most exciting moment was the Emmy for Roots.
Wow.
Which was an acknowledgement.
Not the Oscar, huh?
Well, the Oscar came out. That was incredible. The Oscar was absolutely incredible. But that Emmy was the first major award, in Hollywood, and it was a statement. Roots was a statement that stopped the world, and to get chosen to get the Emmy because of Roots was so significant that that's the plateau that God had put me on. So that it was very emotional significance for my family, for the people, for friends. And it was a cheering thing. So that when I got to the Oscar, a lot of people were cheering for me, and I got the Oscar. It was almost impossible. I sat there, and my contemporaries, the people who I admire, Robert Preston, Victor Victoria, his last movie, he's got to get the Oscar. And up to my left was James Mason, incredible body of work, his last movie. And there's Charles Berry, incredible actor, still an incredible actor. And then John Lithgow. I'm glad to be in top 5. So I kind of went into this relaxation, and my agent hit me on the ribs and said, "They said your name." I said, "No, get up there." And I got up, and there was Susan Sarandon and Christopher Reeve. And I got up, and I kissed Susan Sarandon, and I shook Christopher Reeve's hand, and I went like this because he was Superman, you know what I'm saying? And I thought, I said thank you to my great-grandmother, who was my spirit guide, and my cousin, who gets my life in order, and the other 4 guys, and my agent. And it was kind of like a movie by itself, and it went, spoke to the press. And later on, I celebrated, and nobody called. None of those big studios called. We've got this movie about Kwame Nkrumah. We've got this movie about Bill Pickett, the cowboy. All this. I said, what happened? So it was kind of a disappointment, but Roots was very special.
What message do you think Roots had for the American public in general, and in what way did it change perceptions about Africa?
Oh, it changed the perception about Africa amongst the African American kids, that they didn't know what was happening.
Right, because kids started calling themselves African names.
And you should see the children now. Well, it's Snafu and Kunta and Omari and all that stuff. And that was the good thing, because it got in the system, and the pride came after the anger. It was not the same with the Oscar. And winning the Oscar, I figured that we could continue those relevant stories. In my system, all my contemporaries, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando, George C. Scott, those guys, those Gregory Pecks, the Charlton Hestons, and when they get their awards, they get to do Napoleon. They get to do Julius Caesar. They get to do Prince Arthur. They get to do the Vikings. They get to do their history on the major screen. I said, finally, I can do the Ashanti Empire. I can play the Zulus. I can play the Mende tribe, the stories of the kings of the Benin civilization. I can do a proper Cleopatra, and it was not possible.
But you did Sadat.
But I did Sadat because Mrs. Sadat made sure that I got the part. Anwar had seen Roots, of course, and he had seen other things, and he had a collection. And so I was up against some other actors, Omar Sharif, obviously, and he was not the character, and Dustin Hoffman was one. It was myself, and Jihan said, no, we want Mr. Gossett. And so that came outside of Hollywood.
How did it feel? Were you able to, I mean, I saw the movie, you definitely were able to portray him well, but how did it feel working with the family and trying to become Sadat?
Oh boy, it was, I think it was a magical thing. I was so enamored with that man and his philosophy and his bravery that all I could really draw from, I had not seen Jihan close up, but I read volumes, and there's not too much about his speeches. There's a speech, of course, the famous speech, and then there's the interviews with Walter Cronkite and Barbara Walters. And, and one of the things...
What did you say, Barbara?
My favorite Sadat quote in the Bible is, "Save some questions for Walter, Barbara." But the man was resolute. It seems like when a man is resolute, knowing that you're putting your life on the line, but you can't stop, something happens to the personality, and he's one of those. Dr. King is one of those. Mandela is one of those. Something seems to happen to the person, man or a woman. Madame Bhutto was one of those. Haile Selassie was one of those. Mahatma Gandhi was one of those. Something happens to a person. And so I had to finally find out what that was and where it happened in the story. And it goes from a hawk, a warrior, a soldier who hated the Jews to compassion when he loses his brother and his best friend. And that transition is on screen. And during that transition, I guess applying the three dimensions of that character, it happened to me. So there's no acting involved. I think maybe that's what acting ultimately should be, whenever it's possible. So as an actor, I'm very fortunate to be able to have that experience.
Tell us about Inside, obviously done in my favorite country, South Africa.
Mine too, my favorite country. I had decided not to go to South Africa until they started to deal with apartheid. And of course, Mandela was out, and he had not been out too long before we did that. But I said, okay, now I'll come. So we did this as probably one of the first films produced in Free South Africa. And it's about basically the Truth Commission. I played this character that's in prison at the beginning. And we're all terrorized in there, including Eric Stokes, the Caucasian sympathizer. And then fade out, fade in, Mandela comes out, and I now become the owner of the prison, in charge of the prison. And I want to charge the man who did all that killing of those prisoners. We have our little discussion, and he thinks he's going to be free, but he gets charged. But it's a nice psychological drama. And as a result, I met some very beautiful people who I like to think of my friends today, like Dali Tambo. While I was there, I don't know whether it was while I was doing Inside or when I was doing A Good Man in Africa, I met a lady by the name of Bridget Motsepe.
A good friend.
A good friend. And her family was the Hani family. And as a result, I got friends with Dali Tambo, whom I had known, and I hung out with Adelaide and Oliver when they were all alive. And I got on the inside, I call it the royal family.
The continent is so huge, African continent. You talked about Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah.
You talked about Nyerere. Those two. What are the possibilities of playing Nyerere, playing Kwame Nkrumah?
My first movie, when I must have been 19, was a thing called The Bush Baby, shot in Tanzania. So I got involved with Africa early on, and it's in my system, deep in my system.
This industry, your industry, seems to be so gung-ho about young people. Are you finding that as a legend, as an older actor, they're now giving the leading parts to these young people and you end up playing a supporting role or secondary role? How do you feel about it?
That's cool. As long as they call me and spell the name right on the check, you know. But
I'm thinking primarily about Daddy's Little Girl.
Oh, Daddy's Little Girl, that was a tribute by a great one, Tyler Perry. What up, miss? Yes, ma'am.
My daughter is.
More the same. No complaint.
May I say something, please?
Yes, sir.
Now, I've been in this neighborhood for almost 67 years.
Willie is played by
Academy Award winning Louis Gossett, and I was really, really honored to have him. What I try to do in all of my films, all three of them so far, is bring in some of the legends to work with some of the up-and-coming faces, and it was just an honor to have him on the set. He is such a man of class and grace, and he taught me so much just working with him. It was really, really wonderful to have him there.
Look, Dr. King has taught us how to do for ourselves. Now, if you want your neighborhood back, we got to get our babies back.
I was flattered. I had just come out of the hospital and I wasn't in the best shape and stuff. But it didn't matter. That fit the part. I want him to call me again. I want to be able to call him. I want to be in the mix. And what seems to have happened as a result of this year, the Pan African Film Festival, and then the NAACP Awards, there's all of a sudden, as I think you can see, a mutual love affair between myself and the young. And it was wonderful because there's reconnecting.
Please welcome Oscar and Emmy Award winning actor, Mr. Louis Gossett Jr.
The Blair Underwoods, all those Isaiahs and the hugs and that's the way it's been along. So I'm very touched. And
You're the godfather.
Well, now, as they say in Africa, Baba.
Baba.
I'm Baba, and that's who I am. You know, I'm not 15 and I don't have to blow whistles as I pay attention. That's all that stuff, but it's wonderful.
But that's why, in fact, I think when I had to give the award to Usman Sadat, and I looked in the audience, to me, there was the godfather of theater, of the movie industry, Louis Gossett Jr.
Wow, what an honor it is to be here tonight. I see one of my favorite actors there in the audience, and I'd be remiss if I do not recognize him, Mr. Louis Gossett Jr.
So, to tell the young people all around the country, regardless of age or nationality, that there's no such thing as impossible. Say it 3 times every day. There's no such thing as impossible. So if you dream it, you can do it. Don't let nothing get in the way of that vision.
It's not easier said than done.
Of course. Because there's a lot of stuff that keeps you distract you. I don't know whether I would do it if I was that age now. Today, it's tough. I don't blame the kids for going away a little bit. It's tough. And you have to put something to counteract it a little bit. They got so much stuff to tempt them away from the light. A tough job.
Anything you'd like to talk about that I have not touched on?
Well, that lady there, that's my great-grandmama. She probably has saved my life many, many, many times. She was responsible for raising me and my cousins. If you were too old, then her daughters, my grandmothers, and my great-aunts had the responsibility of raising the children. And everybody younger had to have a job. So she could not spell the word hospital, could not count and really read and write. But she knew the basics, and she'd point, and she'd forget our names sometimes. But her responsibility was to teach us our lessons. And once I did take a giant step, I thought I was larger than life, and I had all those new suits and all that kind of stuff, and I have a photograph of me and her when I had a part in my head, and I was young and hot and famous, and she pulled me down, and she put a finger, she had this part of the finger off, and she was a slave. She died at approximately 115 years old. She said, I just want you to remember one thing. God was in charge before you got here. He's in charge while you're here, and he will be in charge when you leave. So you may as well calm on down and let him run things. So that's a tough lesson for somebody like me, because I'm hard-headed. But she also said a hard-head makes a soft behind. But every time I get close to any kind of dangerous stuff, I feel that woman. So I tell the children, there's no such thing as impossible. To pay attention to what your elders tell you. Don't look at what they're doing, but they got some message for you. To get back in line and learn your lessons and be responsible. The single most important commodity on our planet is not oil or diamonds or gold or military might. The single most important commodity on our planet are our children, all children. And what you plant in them, taking away the poison so you don't do that, is how the world gets better. And that's not overwhelming. That's something we have to do 24/7.